Hello friends, welcome to my next video. This video is on Indian democracy problem, challenges and future, or we can say it problems and challenges to Indian democracy and future of Indian democracy. This is our second chapter, right, so far, and it is from part B of our syllabus. So let us do this chapter in detail. I will use Hindi or Punjabi also, right? Name of the topic is ਭਾਰਤੀ ਲੋਕਤੰਤਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਮੱਸਿਆਵਾਂ, ਚੁਣੌਤੀਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਭਵਿੱਖ. But it is for English medium students. For Punjabi medium students, I'll make separate video that would be totally in Punjabi, right? So what is democracy? First, we should understand what is democracy. Democracy meaning of the word, then only we'll be able to understand the problems and challenges, right? So democracy, in Punjabi we call it loktantra. Democracy itself is a formation of two Greek words, right? It has been taken or derived from two Greek words. One is demos, another is kratos. Demos means people or the population. Kratos means to rule. So democracy overall means rule of the people, means loktantra. किसका तंत्र? लोकतंत्र, लोकां दा तंत्र. So democracy is it is a Greek word made up of two words, demos and kratos. No, in fact, democracy is English word derived from Greek words. So demos and kratos. Demos means the whole population of citizens living in a particular city or state, or kratos means power of or rule. So this way, democracy means rule of the people. Okay, now see, there is a picture. You can see in the picture is former president, US President Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest president. He defined democracy as democracy is the government of the people, by the people and for the people. It means it is government of the people, लोगों की government. Then by the people, लोगों की government किसके द्वारा? लोगों के द्वारा, लोकां द्वारा, and for the people, लोकां दे लिए, right? So democracy, according to Abraham Lincoln, is the government of the people, by the people and for the people. So overall, we understand it, democracy is a government or a system where people govern themselves, right? Let us move to the next point. Key features of democracy. लोकतंत्र दियां विशेषतावां. So what are the main features of of democracy? Here in democratic country we have rule of majority basically, and first of all sovereignty. The supreme power lies with the people. Sovereignty lies with the people. Sovereignty lies with the people. It means that from internally and externally there is no one ruling the country, right? So, and the people themselves choose government, or themselves choose their representative, and their those representative govern people in place of common people, right? So it is sovereignty lies with the people. Then people have a right to vote. Right to vote includes right to fight elections also, right? Then people have fundamental rights, certain rights, right? And that state cannot withdraw. Then a rule of majority. There is rule of majority, means the party whichever wins form government. Then free and impartial election. There are free and impartial elections held on an interval to govern the country. Those who win, they form government. And these free and impartial election are these free and impartial elections are held on a period, on an interval, right? And it is held under election commission. So free and impartial elections is one of the key feature of democracy. Then secular state. State is secular. State has no religion, and it see people of all religions equally. It look after the people, and people have right to religious freedom, and it is included in the constitution also. So from secular state we come to understand two things, that a state doesn't have any religion, right? No religion of a state, no state religion. And secondly, it takes all religion equally. Okay. Next is directive principles of state policy. Directive principles of state policy, these are actually directives or direction to the state while forming laws. These points or these principles they will keep in mind. Means state will keep in mind these principles. It has been included in part 4 of the Indian Constitution. Then we have independent judiciary, and this is one of the key feature of Indian democracy, that judiciary is not under the control of any organization. It is independent. It is guardian of the constitution, and it also has power to declare any law passed by the government null and void if it is not inconsistent with the constitution. Along with that, our key feature of Indian democracy is there are certain commissions for SCs, STs, and minorities and these commissions take care of the rights of these people belonging to these sections of society in our country. So these are the key feature of Indian democracy. Let's move further ahead. Now, same thing, right? So we have already done. Again, I revise these points. Salient features of Indian democracy. In India, the people are the source of power. In India, people are the source of power. Then universal adult franchise, there is another key features. Means although are adult, means 18 years and above age, and they have right to vote without any discrimination. Then we have power of fundamental rights and duties. We have provision in constitution. We have provision of fundamental rights and duties. Fundamental rights part 3, right? Part 3, and fundamental duties part 4a. So and then responsible government both in center and states, and democracy at grassroots level. We have 3-tier system here: center government, state government, and a panchayati raj system, right? Then we have provision of free and impartial and transparent elections. Free, impartial, and transparent election. For that we have election commission, and then we have independent judiciary and rule of law. Means guardian of the constitution judiciary is, then rule of law prevails here. Nobody is above law. And then we have special provision for the protection of interests of SCs, STs, and minorities, right? So these are salient features of Indian constitution. Let us move further and see what are basic challenges, major challenges to Indian democracy. See, any society has 3 systems, that is political system, and social system, and economic system, and there are other many subsystems attached to these systems. So if we see the problem and challenges of any system, we'll have to see in mainly in these things. These here we have shown it, right? So it is we have shown it in this triangle, and challenges means difficulties, right, to operate something, and it can be overcome by various reforms. How these challenges can be overcome, right? So let us see further what it says. There is a mismatch between political democracy and social economic democracy, which led to a number of challenges. If you talk in Indian context, yeah, there is mismatch. We all have political democracy, but if we talk about samajic or social democracy, there is it lacks in. Then economic democracy, yeah, there is no economic, there is no economic democracy. In fact, there is large gap, right, between the rich and the poor. So these reasons, even if we talk about political democracy, in political democracy too, those having money, those who have can fight elections, can, right, do whatever they wish to do. But election has become quite costly in India, and so there are big challenges, even if you talk in the sense of political democracy. So these three factors, right, these three factors have led to many difficulties in operating of our political system properly. So these challenges, so if we want to achieve success as a democratic country, to achieve successful functioning of Indian democracy, there should be coordination. There should be coordination among these three system: political system, economic system, and social system. We will have to achieve social democracy, economic democracy, then we can realize in true sense political democracy. So let us study the major challenges. Major challenges are: illiteracy and political violence, criminalization of politics, corruption, regionalism, religious fundamentalism, communalism, casteism, gender discrimination, poverty, economic inequality, social inequality, and these two also as political violence and illiteracy. So these are major challenges. Let us do it in right in a bit detail. First is poverty. It is in Punjabi we call it garibi. What is it? People should be provided with food, clothing, and shelter. Oh, everyone should get roti kapda makan. An income level below which human beings cannot provide or cannot get their basic need, that is roti kapda makan, or basic need of life, right? Food, shelter, clothing, and shelter. Those people who live who are not able to achieve these basic things are known as poor, and this is the factor is known as poverty. So poverty is one of the reason that we have we have not achieved so far in political democracy. So if you talk about poverty, still 26% Indians are living below poverty line. So it is major portion. 1/4 of the people are still poor, and they are least bothered about election system or participation in election. That is why we see the less turn up during elections, 50%, 60%, 65%, right? So it is one of the major challenge to our democracy. Then there is illiteracy, agyanta, right? Illiteracy, no life without education. Citizens are not aware about their rights, liberties, and duties. Those who are not educated, they don't have knowledge about their rights, liberties and duties. They still believe that these officers are our rulers, our mai baap, right? And they are, system. While we know that actually people have main power, right? So citizens are not able to contribute to the solution of the problem confronting the country. Basically, they become part of the problem instead of part of solution. So it is due to illiteracy. If we talk about illiteracy, see the census. According to 2011 census, 74.4% people were educated. It means around 26% people are not educated, more than 26% in fact. And if we talk about women, 65.46% women are educated, and rest are not educated. So 1/4 of the total population are illiterate, and 1/3 of women population is illiterate. So it is one of the major challenge and big problem for Indian democracy. We have to overcome this problem also. The third is gender discrimination. Gender discrimination is, in Punjabi we call it ling asamanta, means लड़के और लड़कियों में भेद करना. Gender equality is the basic principle of democracy. It means in democracy, if we want the democracy to succeed, we will have to give weightage equally to all sexes, right? All genders. If half of the population, women, are discriminated, the purpose of democracy is failed automatically. So we have gender discrimination also. Asamanta hai, right? Article 12 to 35 fundamental rights, it is equally given to all, right? And then we have part 4a, fundamental duties equally applicable to all, and we have DPSP, directive principle of state policy, so it applies to all. So here steps have been taken, though still we see gender discrimination in our society, and this, until we overcome this sort of disparity, we cannot see India becoming a true democracy, right? Moving further, Jativad, casteism. Casteism holds on the social life of Indians very strongly. It is a blot, dhabba hai, on the fair face of Indian society. According to census 2011, and there are number of castes, subcastes, and different surname gotras found in India. See here. This is in lakhs, right? And the most inhuman impact of caste system is untouchability. Still, untouchability is practiced in some part of the country, so that is inhuman. So casteism, JP says, Jayaprakash Narayan, caste itself is a party in Indian democracy, and still we follow caste system that is a blot to us. It is one of the biggest problem. Then we have next, communalism and religious fundamentalism. Communalism and religious fundamentalism, it is considered as one of the blot on the face of democracy in India. Basically, every religion says it is the best and denounces other religion, right? And promotes religious fanaticism. And we see that its impact is quite adverse on Indian democracy. If we talk about the impact of communalism, formation of it has, number one, formation of communal parties, formation of communal pressure groups also. And if we say in India, Congress manipulated Muslim votes for many years. BJP targets Hindu votes. Hindutva is its main tool in elections, and there are certain forums, Sikh forum, then Arya Samaj, Muslim Majlis, so many, in the name of religion. It is one of the major challenge for Indian democracy to succeed. So communalism is creating a big problem for Indian democracy. Next is regionalism. Regionalism means in Punjabi Khetrwad. It is love to your own area. When people gives preference to the narrow regional interest at the cost of national interest, it is known as regionalism. यानी कि एक एरिया के लिए सोचना और रेस्ट ऑफ द कंट्री के लिए नहीं, then it is regionalism. See, demand secession from Indian state. Secession means अलग होने की demand. For example, Jammu and Kashmir. Demand of separate state within Indian Union. For example, there were many demands in eastern states, right? Then next is demand for full statehood to a union territory, for example, Delhi, right? Then we have jobs for the residents of the soil, only sons of the soil, for example, this happened in Maharashtra, right? And there were turmoil also. Interstate disputes, it is Punjab Haryana SYL river dispute. So basically this is regionalism. Regionalism is Khetrwad, and people love their own region instead of loving whole country, instead of thinking about the whole country. Then we have Rajnitik Hinsa, it means political violence. Democracy and violence are opposite to each other. If democracy is to succeed, then violence is to lose. But here we see that in democracy we see violence everywhere. Democracy always favors changes through use of constitutional means, through ballot, not bullet. But we see elections are fought with bullet, right? Booths are captured, and candidates are killed. So political violence is very common in India. Impact of political violence, we can see that those who are powerful, those who are bahubalis, they win elections and come in power and rule for themselves instead of people. The next point is separatism. Separatism means it is extreme sort of form of regionalism. Separatism is basically to get separated from the nation, from the country. For example, Pakistan was made a separate country. It was because Muslims or leaders or Hindu leaders also at that time demanded separate nations for themselves. And in present context, we see this Kashmir, there was separatist movement, right? In north states also there were problem. So separate states, they want by violence means, sometimes they want peaceful means, but it is it is threat to the national integrity. So if it is followed, separatism is followed, then country will become weak. So it is an extreme form of regionalism. People living in a particular area want to break away from their state to form a separate state by means of peace or violence, right? Both means. What are the effects of separatism? Its effects are an increase in the terrorist activities, pressure on the security forces, threat to unity and integrity of the country. So separatist movements should not be supported because it leads to the disintegration of the country. Corrective measure for improving this in Indian democratic system. What are the corrective measures? Means here, if we talk about what can we do to correct or to overcome these problems and challenges in India. So first is universal literacy, means education should be spread, right? And education should be such as may lead to the awareness among the people about the democracy and their participation in democracy. Then we have a removal of poverty. If poverty is removed, people become satisfied. They become they become asset to the nations. When there is poverty, people are not satisfied. They do certain illegal activities that create problem, right? Then we have elimination of gender inequality. We should treat male female equally, right? Then we should make high moral character. Our character should be made, it should be, people should be taught the lesson of patriotism, sacrifice, honesty, right? And people should rise above caste and community and communalism. Then we should have independent judiciary, increase in the number of judges, right, according to the ratio of the population, then simplification of the rule and procedures in the courts, then transparency in the appointment and promotion of the judges will lead for further improvement in our system. Then abolition of corruption. Corruption should be abolished. Lokpal at center level should be appointed, right? Lok Ayukta in each state should be appointed. Now let's move. What is the future of Indian democracy? Right, people of India have faith in democracy. They didn't, didn't try to change democratic system in the past. So people have full faith in democracy. Then next is intelligent use of vote. People will have to use vote intelligently for those candidates who are really their leaders and those who really want to work for the people. Then hatred for dictatorship. People should develop hatred for dictatorship. If anybody is dictator, then they should be thrown out in the next election, as people did to Congress government in 1977. For 2 years there was emergency, and but in election in 1977, the Congress party was thrown out of the power. Then loyal armed forces we need to have loyal armed forces. Then spread of education. These factors, if we are able to develop and further, Indian democracy is safe, its future is safe. Thank you. Hope you get the chapter. If you don't understand anything, please do comment and tell me how can I make videos better for you. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.